always excited to talk to our pal, Adam Schefter. Most of the time, I'm usually excited to talk to him about golf, but we do have some bigger pressing issues to get to today, like that big deal Jordan Love signed on Friday. Adam, thanks for jumping on, man. Always good to see you.
Well, Gabe, the good news is, I know we're doing it today, but with Jen gone, we can do a lot of golf today.
Is it golf over, though?
Issue.
We got the Olympics.
No, Olympic golf this week. Yep, Olympic golf this
Okay.
week. Yep, before we get to the Wyndham, and then we get the Wyndham, we get the BMW coming up.
Yeah, see, Schefty's got the whole schedule down, Chew. It's awesome. But we can get to that later because Jordan Love signed the extension, 4 years, $220 million, $75 million signing bonus. What do you think ultimately pushed this thing across the finish line after Love missed 4 days of practice during training camp?
I think there are a couple of things. I think that, number one, the big factor, believe it or not, is that they have a padded practice on Saturday, and that team wants them out there. They don't want to start going through drills without their quarterback. And let's be honest, we know where the number is going to come in. We've been saying on this show for weeks now, once that Trevor Lawrence deal was done, that the Packers before could argue, hey, we don't think that you should be paid what Joe Burrow is making at $55 million a year. But once Trevor Lawrence hits that threshold and that mark, then the Packers' argument loses a little bit of steam there. And so if Trevor Lawrence is getting 55, you can justify 55 for Jordan Love. And I think that's what happens there, where basically, okay, we know what the numbers are. I think it was going to be a 4-year deal all along. So I don't think that was the final breakthrough where Green Bay is like, okay, we'll go shorter on the years. I don't think that was the case. I just think that they're working through it. They're close, and it's go time to get some of that language done, to nail down some of the logistics on the guarantees, and then get it done in time to have them out there for the first full padded practice Saturday. And they were able to do all those things. Again, it's not like they were starting from scratch. It's not like there wasn't a roadmap. It's not like they hadn't made any progress. It's not like they weren't close to a deal all along. So all those things together, in the end, ultimately, and then Tua's deal gets done Friday too, which gives you even more clarity. So what are we waiting for? And they finished it off hours after Tua's deal.
Who do you think won the negotiation, Adam, or was it a push?
That's a hard question to answer. I would say, look, there's a win there in each, right? Mm-hmm. If you're the Packers, you get Jordan Love done before Dak Prescott gets done. Like, I wouldn't want to be doing Jordan Love's deal next year. By the way, if Jordan Love plays this season the way he did in the second half of the year in the postseason and Dak gets his deal done, then we're looking at a number that's going to be way over what he's paying him. But on the other hand, they're already paying him at a top level right now. So there's a win for Jordan Love. Look, that's the idea of a deal. Each side gets wins, right? They have Jordan Love under contract for the next 5 years, which seems to be a high number. But here's the other thing. This is such a young roster. They don't have to pay a ton of offensive weapons right now yet. And so while that's the case, let's get this deal in the books. Let's get it done the way we want, structure it, and we can grow with some of other young players. If you're Jordan Love, you're banking all that guaranteed money. You're set. You're set for life. You were set anyway. So, again, I think both sides win. And then again, they do this again, hopefully, for both sides' sake, in 2027-28 when his next deal's up, when he's going to be 30 years old at that point in time.
So, Adam, your colleague, Jeff Darlington, went on some airways and basically said fans...
He was on Unsportsmanlike. He was on Sportsman.
Okay. I don't know if you heard it, but he was saying fans in general are too critical of Tua and sing too much praise for Love. Is that fair?
Well, I think what Jeff was referring to is this. These two guys were in the same draft class. Tua Tagovailoa was the 4th overall pick or 5th overall pick, and Jordan Love went later in that same draft. And really, if you look at their numbers, they're probably pretty similar. In fact, Tua probably has outproduced Love with the exception of the way that Love finished last year. And yet, how is it that Love's numbers came in higher than Tua's numbers? Like, what is the difference? Why would they come in higher than Tua's? And I think it's a case where, people have this perception of injuries with Tua, which is fair. I mean, he's missed a lot of time in college and in the pros, had some concussions, which I think worked against him here. They're two strong deals for two great players. But I just think that I don't know if that's the case. Look, it's a function of how your season finishes. Our last memory of Tua is going into Kansas City and getting shut down. Our last memory of Love is beating Dallas on the road and then nearly beating San Francisco. And I know Love threw 2 picks, I believe it was, were turned over the football in the fourth quarter, second half against San Francisco. And so he didn't take care of the football when he needed to. But he still played exceptionally well in the playoffs. He still had that team in position to get to the NFC Championship game. And your memories from the postseason of Jordan Love are fresher and better than they are of Tua. So you're going to get more praise for Jordan Love than you would for Tua, in my mind.
I think one thing fans are still, even though they've kind of accepted and realized that Jordan Love is going to be getting $55 million per year, that's still an incredibly high number. And those numbers are just going to continue to go up for quarterbacks. But this isn't really a new issue, right? As long as the salary cap continues to go up, quarterbacks are going to get their share. It's always about, yes, it's easy to kind of fixate, Adam, I think, on, 55. Maybe Dak gets 60. I know Bill Barnwell had a piece out there saying maybe Brock Purdy gets $65 million when it's time to pay him. But it's always about a percentage of the cap, right? Like teams budget.
Not always. I mean, you usually what quarterbacks are going to make, and they have a higher percentage of the cap than everybody. Typically, it's been, 12, 13, 14% of the cap. And I've had some agents say to me that they'd like to set up deals where quarterbacks are making a certain percentage of the cap, not a number. I kind of like that idea, actually, where instead of saying Jordan Love's average annual salary is $55 million, that he makes, argument's sake, 14% of whatever the salary cap is every year. Like, if you're a superstar and there's a quarterback, I think, one day that's going to argue for that and maybe in a position to get that. By the way, maybe that's Dak when he becomes a free agent after this year and you're on a scaled contract that adjusts to the salary cap. Again, we'll see how that works out. Dak is going to have unprecedented leverage to get and do things that he wants. So if anybody can help reset that market, it would be Dak Prescott, I believe.
Adam, and I know it's the Jets, but there's been 2 instances this past week where Rodgers was John with Wilson, and then they had a terrible practice where he was livid. Does Saleh have control of this team? I mean, it just looks bad. I mean, it was like 2 days later, Rodgers is going off again at the team. It's just doesn't feel like he has control of this team.
Now, again, I would turn that question to you, Chewy, because you would be better qualified to answer that than me. If you're a player on that team and you've been a player, that's how you're looking at that situation?
Well,
you're looking at this saying...
I'll explain it to because you have heated conversations like that, and I know when I played there were no cell phone cameras or anything like that, so they pick up everything, and you have arguments like that. But when you're a quarterback, and I'll tell you this with Brett, Adam, Brett would rarely, and I'm talking in my day, I don't know what happened after, he wouldn't yell at you for doing something running a wrong route, because he knew he was going to throw an interception at some point in time. And then I would be justified in going after him, so he was smart enough to know that would turn into a mess. I just think with Rodgers, whether right or wrong, people are getting sick of his shtick. No one likes to get yelled at. You know?
I saw people making something of him and Garrett Wilson on the side. I didn't take it the way that people did. Like, people said that they were jawing at each other. I didn't see it that way. Was there another incident?
Well, he went off there in practice because one of the practices were so sloppy and he's screaming at guys. Quarterbacks.
Again, I guess my thing would be this, that I believe, right or wrong, that Aaron Rodgers has probably got more respect than just about anybody there, and that guys are going to listen to him, and he feels like it's on him to set a tone, to set an example, to set the expectations of what's realistic for that team. And so he has to do that on the offensive side of the football sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that the quarterback is such a leader. And with him being who he is, he's in an even elevated position. Now,
Yeah, but hold on, Adam. But what's going to rub guys what's going to rub guys the wrong way is when these quarterbacks are making $70 million a year, and I'm a starting right guard making $6 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Guy, you're not happy for your guy there. You're really not, and it gets to a point where like this is ridiculous. The amount of money these guys are. They don't practice. They wear red jerseys. You know,
right?
They're Brad Pitts of the industry, and I'm working just as damn hard as him. And I don't want him yelling at me because there is resentment in the locker room. You resent,
of course.
And I only see it getting worse the higher these salaries go for quarterbacks.
And that was one of the things. Again, speaks to you, that made Brett great, right? He was he was ingratiated with everybody there, right, on the offensive line. You guys, am I correct?
Yeah, no, totally, Adam.
Right? And so I remember back in Denver when I covered the Broncos, John Elway was always going out with the offensive linemen, taking them out. And those were his closest friends on the team. And so, what's interesting to me also is Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. There's a huge age difference between him and some of these younger guys. And the older you get, to me, the more accentuated it becomes. And the fewer ways there are to connect. So that's part of the challenge here, is making sure that everybody is gelling together, coming together, being together. And what you're saying is when he acts like that, which I didn't see, so I can't speak to it exactly, but if he's calling out people and yelling out, if that is indeed the case, then that's counterproductive to some of the efforts that a quarterback should be mounting. And again, I just think that Aaron's smart enough to figure out, he knows what's necessary and what's not. You may not like it or like it. If he's doing that every day,
yeah, then it's a turnoff.
It's a problem.
I agree.
But if there are isolated examples,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it was justified. I don't know that. And so, I'm going out there Saturday. I'm going to watch their prep. Whatever. We'll see what I observe in one day. But if I see him chewing out everybody and people turning their heads, I'm going to be like, Chewy. Oh, Chewy was onto something there.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes on Saturday when I'm there.
Yeah, we've got a Chewy is right button that we've kind of put on ice because he thought the Aaron Rodgers deal was going to be done last Monday, and then it took till
Jordan
Friday.
Love, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean, the Jordan Love deal.
Yeah.
So Adam, are you excited for Olympic golf? I mean, it's tough now. Training camps are open. You mentioned you're going to Jets camp. You're a little busier now than you were during the regular golf season.
Yeah, let me say this, that if we don't make a pick in our weekly pool, there are 3 weeks left, 3 tournaments left, which it actually works out perfect, right? Because by the time football rolls around, my golf pool is over. I'm just telling you that in the final 3 weeks, if the golfer that I pick is in a golf tournament, I won't miss a shot that he hits the entire time. Okay, I don't care what's going on. That won't happen. I am fully dedicated to watching my guys in golf at all times, as long as I am in contention in that pool. That's the way it kind of operates.
That's why I respect you, Adam. That's why I respect you.
We are committed. We are, well, you know what it is? I do love golf, but I think I love the competition. And
okay.
It's not like, they say the money, like you win a little bit of money, but it's not that. It's I want to beat. I want to finish first in this pool. There are 30 teams, and it's a season-long thing. I won it once before a few years ago. I want to win. I like to win.
What position are you in right now?
We are in the overall pool, we are in there because there's a first half, an overall, and a second half.
Okay.
Overall, we are in 4th place, 2.8 million points behind. So the chances are we're not going to win the overall. Like that's
yeah. You got to get hot.
No.
How
gotta
often
get a
do you?
winner. You gotta
How
get a
often
winner.
do you play golf?
I play golf probably in the off season. Once we get past the draft, probably 7-8 times between May 1st and July 15th.
And yet
About
you're such a
7-8 times
diehard.
total.
Gabe does that in a week.
Well,
I'm about to do that in a week here.
and then the clubs go away. They go away like August 1st. I will play. I'm taking a few producers from ESPN out next week, one morning. That'll be my last round till next May.
Wow.
Well, Adam, we always appreciate the time. We always appreciate the insights.
By the way,
yeah.
By the way, 2.8 million points behind on the overall. We are in second place in the second half pool.
Okay.
600,000 behind.
Okay, so that's realistic. You could win the second half.
Could definitely win the second half, but we still need a winner here in the final 3 tournaments after the Olympics, which is the Wyndham, the BMW. There's one other tournament. Anyway, there's 3 tournaments. I got to find a winner in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's the FedEx, the St. Jude FedEx.
FedEx. Yes, FedEx. And right, exactly. Wyndham, FedEx, BMW. That's exactly right. And we had Patrick Cantley in reserve for the FedEx.
Oh yeah, because he always plays well in the playoffs.
Memphis,
That's smart. See, this is a guy who's planning all of this out ahead. Take some notes from Adam Schefter when it comes to, and again, for your own fantasy football. He's planning ahead. Plan ahead in your own fantasy drafts as well. Adam, always appreciate it, buddy. Look forward to talking to you next week.
Gabe and Chewy, thank you very much. Appreciate you having me. Have a great week. We'll talk next week.